Well, hello. Today is day 11 of a 30-part series where I will show you how I've been living out of this Subaru Forester for the past 17 months. I'm currently just outside of St. George, Utah, in a really great BLM spot where I slept for the night. I mean, it is just beautiful out here. Lots of stars last night. I've got a lot to do today. I've got to call up a couple of mechanics and schedule some car maintenance with the car. Nothing major, just some routine stuff. But I've got to go ahead and schedule that. Then I've got to make some extra money to pay for all that. So I'm probably going to try to DoorDash today. And in midst of all that, I'm gonna film a YouTube video for you. And one of the biggest questions I get all the time is, what kind of meals do you cook on the road? So today I'm gonna show you a little bit of my car kitchen setup and some of the meals I cook while living out of a small car. All right, one of the things that was super important to me when I got on the road is being able to cook full meals on the road. I am not a person that can eat dehydrated meals every single night. I am not a person that can eat ramen every single day. I do try to eat somewhat healthy. I'm sure I could be better, but I also just try to stay away from a lot of like super processed foods, and I like to eat whole foods, so I'm constantly eating like vegetables and things. So it was important to me to have like a full kitchen with a 2-burner stove. So I looked at a lot of options out there like jet boils and other kind of backpacking stoves, and while that is great for a small setup like this, all they essentially do is boil water. And again, that means I'd just be eating dehydrated meals all the time and ramen, and I wanted more than that. I also looked at some just single stoves that you just run off like a butane, which are super great. You can get those for like 20 bucks at a Walmart. And for a small setup like this, again, it's fine. But I needed 2 burners because I often have like a protein, like a chicken or something cooking, and then like usually it's like some pasta or rice or something like that cooking on the other burner. So that's where I came across this. Now, when I was originally coming up with the layout for this car and coming up with how I was gonna set up my sleeping area and how I was gonna set up my kitchen area, I was gonna build this kitchen thing that you're gonna see in a minute. I was gonna build that, but then I realized I lacked the know-how and I lacked the tools to make it happen. So that's when a friend sent me this link. She found this. This is a really great solution. This, of course, was purchased on Amazon, and it's literally a pull-out car kitchen. You just push these little latches down, which are locks. You pull out the first part, you've got a big prep area. You pull down the second lock, you pull the second part out, and you've got your stove. This is a 2-burner stove by Coleman, and it's fine. I kind of wish I had something a little bit better. This is actually a replacement for the one I had. The one I had was just like this. It was just a little bit older model. It was like a darker green. This one's got a built-in igniter in it, but the igniter stopped working like a week after I got it. And it's fine. It's not the greatest stove in the world. I know there's better camping stoves out there, but for my budget, and more importantly for this setup, because this setup was already built out for the old stove, I need something that was going to fit the exact dimensions. So I'll show you what I mean. Now, this car kitchen is built so that you can put a stove right here, but if you see, there's not much of a lip here. There's like a little small one, and this thing would just be sliding all around as I'm driving, and I didn't want that. So I put these little L brackets on there. When you lift the stove up, there's all these L brackets that are screwed down so that this thing fits perfectly in there and then doesn't slide around. So I didn't want to remove any of these and rearrange these in any way. When I was looking at getting a replacement stove for my old one, I needed something that's going to fit it to the exact measurements. So of course I had to get the exact same stove as I had before, so that's why I have this one. I prefer some other brands, but this one's fine. This kitchen does have some neat features like this little pull-out drawer here where I keep some spatulas and knives and everything. I'll show you where I keep my actual silverware here in a second. I'll put a link to this kitchen down in the description below. I think it's around $400. And when you first get it, you're gonna see it pictured to have like a big water container up here. And then this area right here is actually where you would have a collapsible sink. And it does come with a collapsible sink. However, that means it would only leave me with this little bit of area for prep. And I'm gonna show you this area up here, but I knew that I wouldn't be able to put a big water container up there. I knew this is where all my dry goods were gonna go. So I had a big cutting board that was almost the size of this thing. And I just had someone cut it down with a saw, and then we ran it out the corners here. And that has been the best solution because now I have a prep area to cut vegetables and meats and everything up on. And I have all this space that I can put anything on top of. And again, I have this big area up here I can put all my dry goods. For my dry goods area and places where I keep silverware and things, this is actually just a car organizer. I also got this on Amazon. I have two of them. One of them I use up front for my closet. I keep all my clothes in it. And this has been a great solution for just all my dry goods. I do keep a couple of just plastic plates in here. I also keep just a barbecue lighter. I have all sorts of condiments and cooking oils. And I have some other like dry goods like bread and rice and everything up here. In order to make it where this thing would not move while driving, I did have to strap it down. So there's actually some straps holding the whole thing down, and this thing does not go anywhere while driving. So it's been a really good solution. What I really like about the car organizer is it has all these pockets around the sides and around the front. And what I did is I put all my silverware in here. Now silverware has like, you know, knives and forks that are kind of sharp. So I have this old bottle holder for like a water bottle to keep your water bottle kind of cold. And actually has like a carabiner clip and everything. You can clip it on your waistband. Well, I didn't need that for a water bottle. Instead, I put all my silverware in there. So knives and forks and stuff go face down so they can jab into this thing. They won't stab me when I crawl into my bed. And even spoons and stuff like that just kind of go in there. I even keep things like a bottle opener for wine and some other big spatula things up here. My car fridge is usually pretty full of meats and other produce. So I also eat a lot of like apples and oranges, bananas and things. And so I just didn't have room in my car fridge for those. And those don't have to be really refrigerated. But also my car is in the baking sun a lot. So I need to make sure those fruits would stay pretty good. And that's where I reuse this old lunchbox. So I got this for when I worked at Apple. It was just a little giveaway they gave to us. And when you open it up, you're gonna see that I have all my apples and oranges in there. And these things stay pretty good for a while back there. Just keep the lid closed so the sunlight doesn't hit them. It stays nice and cool during the summer months, and it's been a really good solution for me. Yeah, you'll find that when you get into like car life, it's all about what you already have and what you can repurpose. At least it was for me. I don't have a ton of money to go and buy a whole bunch of new things. And that's a great example, that little lunchbox thing. It serves exactly what it needed to do, and there was no sense in getting rid of that when I had it. All right, I've actually done an entire video all about my kitchen setup and how I get things going for cooking a meal in it. So I don't want to go too much into depth because if you've watched that video, this may be too repetitious for you. However, there may be people who have never watched that video, so I want to give a little basic coverage. So I'm trying to meet you kind of somewhere in the middle. But I will put a link right here to that video. So if you're interested in seeing this in a full breakdown, I will. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and get some breakfast going. I am starving. I usually do the same things for breakfast, which is cook up some eggs, kind of like an omelet, kind of like a scrambled omelet. I'll cook up some eggs with some tomatoes and cheese diced up in there. Oh, and some sausage, cut up some chicken sausage, and then some oatmeal and a little bit of fruit. Lately, I've been taking that egg scramble though, and I'm putting it into a little fajita. So I'm making like a little egg breakfast burrito sandwich. All right, I got the egg in there with tomatoes and some chicken sausage all cut up. And then I put a little bit of avocado on there. I'm gonna top it off with a little hot sauce. I love hot sauce on almost everything. Can't beat this view for breakfast though. So that's my kitchen setup in a nutshell. For breakfast, I usually do the same thing as I mentioned, oatmeal, some eggs, and some fruit. Then for lunch, I'll usually go pretty simple and just make a sandwich, maybe an apple along with that. A lot of times I'm working on either a YouTube video or I'm working for a freelance project, and I might be working from like a library or something. And if that's the case, then I'll usually just bring like a power bar with me and maybe an apple or something, but I definitely don't bring a sandwich or anything with me into the library. And then for dinner, I usually do like a whole setup again. I usually will make chicken, fish, steak. So I usually have like a protein. And then alongside of that, I definitely usually cook vegetables. Lately, I've just been using a lot of rice along with all the proteins and vegetables. I mix it all up and kind of make like a power bowl. But I've done lots of tacos in the past. I've done soups and stews, steaks and potatoes on like a fire. If I'm camped in a place where there's a fire ring, like this one's got a giant fire ring, if you can see it over my shoulder. But there's nothing out here to burn, so I didn't even get a fire going last night. Plus, it was pretty windy. But if I have like a fire ring, then I will use my my cast iron skillet, and I will put that on right on top of the flames and just cook a steak or something that way. Yeah, you really just cook whatever I'm in the mood for. I don't believe you have to, again, eat dehydrated meals or ramen every single night just because you live out of a car. I like to eat with real foods. Now again, sometimes I do go pretty simple and just, like I said, cook up a dehydrated meal. And then that's the case, then I just need to boil some water. And I could get the stove out and set up the propane tank and turn on the stove just to do that, but that's a lot of work just to boil some water. So I picked up this little like $30 electric kettle from Amazon before I hit the road. This thing has got 4 presets on it. It goes to 212, I think 195, 175, and 145 are the preset temperatures you can select on here. And then once it reaches that temperature, it'll beep to let you know it's done, and then you just pour that water onto whatever you want to cook. So again, dehydrated meals. Lately I've just been doing a lot of instant coffee. It's just a lot easier than boiling up some water and then doing like a pour over. So I've been using this to make my coffee. I started drinking a little bit of tea again at night, like some herbal tea to help get me to sleep, and so I'll heat up some water using this. I use this for quite a bit of stuff. I'll put a link again down in the description for you, but I really think this is so convenient. It's pretty slender. I mean, you can see it's like the size of a cup. I mean, you could actually just boil your water in there and then put like a tea bag or whatever in there if you want to, or coffee, instant coffee in there if you want to. I choose to put it into a different cup, but yeah, I like this thing. And it's even got a little handle on it to make it easy to carry. And if I ever do have an opportunity to cook over an open fire, then I will use this. This is just a big metal grill, and it has these little kick out legs from it. And then that way I can set this over a flame and it's kind of level, and I can put my cast iron skillet right on top of that, or maybe a steak or something like that, just right on top of it if I want to. For dinner, I'm having some stir fry. Chicken in there, cut up vegetables, some sweet potatoes, snap peas, carrots, broccoli, and I'm gonna tap it off with, what else? Pad Thai sauce. Tacos. A wrap with some chicken, black beans, put some tomatoes in there, rotel, and I topped it off with some salsa verde, Valentina hot sauce, and some feta cheese, baby. All right, and for dinner tonight, we're gonna do some shrimp on the barbie, and some vegetables, or some cauliflower and broccoli and potatoes all in there. I don't know why I've been on a pad thai kick lately, but I just made it again. I got some chicken and steak in there because I had a little bit of both left over. Some noodles, I cut up some fresh vegetables and have the sauce and put a little peanuts on top. It's really good though. So I keep looking over my shoulder because while I was making dinner, I actually saw a fox, like maybe 7 feet away from me, kind of creeping up to the area. So I had to like scare him off. So just kind of keep my head on swivel. I don't know what other kind of critters are around here. All right, well, I need to leave this spot. Trust me, I do not want to. I just absolutely love it here, but I have to go into town, and I need to try to DoorDash tonight. I've already booked all of my appointments for the next couple of days to get all the stuff I need done to the car. So for the next 3 days, I'm going to 3 different places because it was the best deal on each service I needed. So I need to go try to hit up the dinner crowd tonight. I don't know what I'm expecting to make tonight. If I can hit like $65, $75, I'll be very happy. We'll see. I've never DoorDashed in St. George before, and it's coming up about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So we'll see. I thought about taking you along with for the DoorDashing, but I've actually already started doing the editing for this video, which is why I'm leaving here so late, is I'm almost done all the way for this video. And if I put the DoorDashing part in there, I think it'll just make this video a little long. So I'll certainly talk about how well I did during DoorDashing, and maybe, you know, chime in a couple times if anything really exciting happens during the DoorDashing, which probably won't. It's DoorDashing, it's food delivery. It's usually nothing really exciting happens, but most likely I'll just talk about how much I made at the end of the night, and then talk about, you know, my spot that I found for the night and everything. I'm definitely going to stay closer to town. I'm about 35 minutes from town at the moment, so I'm definitely going to stay closer to town tonight so that I can get up in the morning and hit up the Subaru dealership. It's the first stop I'm going to for one of the services I need to get done tomorrow. So that's at 9:30 in the morning. So I'm going to stay closer to town tonight, but let's go ahead and leave this absolutely stunning, amazing place. I really, really don't want to. I love these quiet, open BLM spots. They're just absolutely my favorite. When I'm the only one out here and it's just so quiet. Ugh, I don't really want to go back to a city. Gotta do what you gotta do though. Time to make the donuts. I really don't want to leave here. This place is so great, especially that volcano that's way over there. Man, it was so great here all night. So quiet. All right, I got done dashing now about 30-40 minutes ago. I put a hard time limit of 9 p.m. tonight on myself. I said I don't want to dash anything past that. I wrapped up my last delivery at 8:55, I think it was. And I just said, you know what, I'm just going to stop it for the night. I didn't do great, $43, and I was active for 2.5 hours. So if you do the math, it comes out to about $18 an hour. So not super great. I knew that I wasn't going to do a lot tonight. It's Monday, so a lot of restaurants are closed. B, I don't think a lot of people just do a lot of door dashing on Mondays. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it seems to pick up more into the week and definitely the weekends. I know I said earlier I was hoping to hit like 65 or 75. In reality, I knew I was hoping to hit like 50. That would have been like, okay, I was like, all right, $50. Because I started super late. I started around 4 o'clock and to 9 o'clock. So I was like, you know, I just $50 maybe. We'll see. I didn't even do the math. I just picked a wild number. I was like, okay, $50 feels like it might be appropriate. And I clearly could have gotten there at $43. One more delivery, I would have gotten there. And to be fair, I turned down like 5 offers to me because they were terrible offers. One of them was going to take me all the way down to Arizona, which St. George is not far from Arizona. It literally would have been like a 20-minute drive or something like that. But it was a bad deal. It was like $7. It said 10 miles, but I think it would have been, I would have driven longer, honestly. And yeah, it was literally on the Arizona-Georgia border. I was like, no, I'm not doing that for $7 because I was going to have to come all the way back up here. I knew I was going to be back in the city tonight because I had to go to the dealership in the morning, which leads me to say that I am doing something tonight that I really hate to do, but I am going to stealth camp tonight. Stealth camping is when you have to stay in a city. That's the term, stealth camping. I do not like to stealth camp. I absolutely only do it when it's absolutely necessary. Now, there is BLM all around this area. I just would have to drive to it. It's like a 15-minute drive. And, you know, 30 minutes round trip to come back here in the morning near the dealership to drop off the car. I was like, I just don't feel like doing that. And I'm really tired. So I said, you know what? I've gotten a pretty good feel for the city for the last couple of days. I feel pretty safe staying in the city. So whenever I do stealth camping, I either A, look for a street near a neighborhood or in a neighborhood that's super safe, super quiet, or my next best thing is I'll just go straight for a hotel parking lot. And that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm staying in a hotel parking lot. Hotel parking lots are very safe, very quiet. I always pick one that's furthest away from a major road or highway. So there was one I was looking at, but it was pretty close. I went back there for a minute and just kind of sat there and listened to all the city noise. And there was 2 big major roads that went kind of by that place. And I was like, it's a little loud. So I think this place might be a little quieter. I'm back in the corner, away from everybody and everything. So it'll be fine. I don't like to do it, but I'll be fine. I put up all my reflectives. So there's the one on the passenger side and the ones in the back are already up. And then here's the one that I'm gonna put up in my driver's side window. I'll show you how I made these tomorrow. It's just too late and I'd have to get out of the car and try to film in the dark and everything. So I'll show you how I made those tomorrow. Everybody's got their own little answer to window coverings. These were really simple to make and they're very effective. So I'll show you those tomorrow. But that is going to be it for tonight. I'm going to go ahead and call it quits on this video. Tune in tomorrow, day 12 of this 30-day series. I was going to go over like car organization tips and just how to keep your car kind of organized and everything. But I may just talk a little bit about stealth camping because there's a good chance I might have to do it again tomorrow. Being in the city, I got 3 days of doing car maintenance on the car. I may just end up doing it again tomorrow. So we'll see. Tune in tomorrow to see what kind of surprise video topic I'm going to have for you. Until next time, thank you for escaping normal life with me.